Hello, teacher. We are Diana Garzón and Gabriela Triviño. We are group number 4, and today we are going to talk about key teacher interventions. Okay, in this presentation, we are going to talk about 3 different topics. The first one is checking for understanding. The second one, giving encouragement, feedback, and praise. And the last one, giving difficult messages. Okay, I'm going to talk about checking for understanding. And okay, checking for understanding, or CFU, is the backbone of effective instruction. And this checking for understanding provides the teacher the opportunity to improve learning based on students' responses through the teaching and learning process. So it's important in the CFU use the real time because this allows teachers to make crucial instructional decisions during the lesson. Also, it is important because, yes, as I mentioned, that's the backbone of effective instructions. With this in mind, there are 3 types of CFU. The first one is the verbal, the second one written, and the last one the demonstration. Can you? Oh, thank you, Gabi. Okay, about the verbal strategies, those strategies allow students to voice their responses to their peers or the whole classes. So the idea with the kind of strategies, in this case, the verbal strategies, is to give importance the student's role. About the writing strategies that allows students to reflect on a question and write their responses. The idea is with the writing exercise, they can interiorize the instructions given by the teacher. And the last one, demonstration strategies. That strategies allow students to complete activities, give examples, create models, or use manipulative to represent their knowledge. So they have different resources to demonstrate that the instruction was clear. Something important in this part is that effective teachers use a combination of all those 3 strategies, because when the idea is when we design a specific CFU strategies, we have to expect responses, or we have to have some ideas in mind that will demonstrate the level of content knowledge that the student has. So for this reason, we think that those strategies are so important.
Okay, thank you. Now I am going to talk to you about giving encouragement, feedback, and praise. These 3 might be confusing or may sound like if they are very similar, but here we are going to show you what are the difference among them and how you can recognize each of them. So to start, I want to tell you about encouragement. This is focused more on the effort. Your words are deeper. Also, this also gives the students or help the students to focus on their effort and their progress. Also helps the students to build confidence and also the self-esteem in the student. Also, it focuses on acknowledging or recognizing the learner's capabilities, and also allows them to become self-motivated, and also stimulates the cooperation and contributes for the good of all the members. And also there is something called little evaluation or no evaluation. That means that the student feels accepted, like it's not evaluated, just accepted, and that's it. So how can we recognize the encouragement? These are some examples. For example, if you say to the student, you did it, or you should be proud of yourself, The third one is like you finish, for example, the student is doing a puzzle. You can say you finished the puzzle, even though it was a little bit tricky. Or also you can like recognize by saying, look how many colors you used. Those are examples of encouragement. Or another example, like giving a giving a deeper encouragement. You can say, for example, to a student, okay, you are learning how to do it. The last week you had a little bit of troubles with it, but this week you did it without a problem. So you are recognizing that the student was having difficulties at the beginning, but now is doing it in a better way. Uh, if we continue with praise, we need to take into account that praise and encouragement are frequently confused, but they are different. Why? Because here in praise, you create like a sense of competition among the students. Or, for example, you say like, wow, great job. And when you say that, for example, if one of the students saw you saying that, wow, great job, um, he or she will feel like, okay, I want that my teacher say or told me the same. So I am going to put my effort on finishing my task to feel that my teacher or to listen my teacher saying me that I did a great job. The praise also makes the students think or talk positively about them. And also, there is something that is called descriptive phrase. With this descriptive phrase, is similar to the competition or something like that. And with this, you can create, for example, anxiety or dependency, as the example I told you before. This also can, I don't know, can generate like a judgment of evaluation, and this is related with the descriptive phrase. Why? Because with this judgment of evaluation, you are saying that something is best or is good or is worse or is better or something like that. And this also creates like the comparison between the students, like this student did it better than the other, or this was the best job, this was the worst, something like that. And with the evaluative praise, this also create like this. Also, with the evaluative praise, as I told you before, this is similar to the anxiety that creates of that, and also is focused on quality and performance. As you are like focused just only in the quality of the task and how you did it, not in the process. And some examples of this are, for example, you did great, I am so proud of you, you are a good helper, or your drawing is so pretty. So as you can see here, like when you tell your students, I am so proud of you, this can generate like the anxiety in the other students, because you are not saying that to all of them, just some of them. So this at the same time creates like the competence. And okay, and the last one is the feedback. Um, for me, this is the best one, because why? Because here you are like giving the information to your students about how they performed something. And with this information, you are allowing the students to improve specific points of their performance. And this can also be given like during the activity, or at the end, or in the immediate moment when the student committed or made that mistake. So the most common example of feedback is when, for example, the teacher agrees with the students just to keep in silence while the student is doing his activity or her activity or their presentation. And in this moment, the teacher is just taking notes about the mistakes, about the errors, and waits until the students finish to show or to tell the mistakes. This also creates like the confidence in the student, because if, for example, if you give the feedback during the activity, the student will feel like demotivated and doesn't want to continue doing the activity. But if you wait until the end and have like your words written or the mistakes written, this can be better for the student. And also by doing this feedback, you can show the mistakes that the student had. And as I was telling you, the most common type of feedback is the one that is given at the end of a task of or an activity. So this was about giving encouragement, feedback, and praise.
Thank you, Gabby. Okay, now our last topic is giving difficult messages. And okay, continue, Gabby, please. Thank you. Um, a model for this topic is the instruction given has a direct effect on learning. So it's important the way in which we are going to give an instruction, and a lesson or activity can becomes chaotic and fails when students don't understand what they are supposed to do. So a good way to make sure your instructions for an activity are clear and conscious is to write them out as you develop your lesson plan. So that it's going to be like your goal, or yes, that's going to give you like a clear vision that what you want to develop during the session or the class, and how you are going to give that kind of instructions. But in some cases, when you don't have that goal clear, or the way in which you are going to develop your session or your class is going to becomes as we have here a chaotic class.
Okay, now to continue, we wanted to show you like what happens if you give bad instructions, like how to recognize when your instructions were not well given. So you can identify this when you have like a dead silence in all the classroom, no one is talking, no one is doing anything, like it seems like no one is there. So that is a sign that they didn't understand. Also, you can figure out this when you see that the students are doing the wrong things. That they said, yeah, we understood, but when in the moment that when they were developing the activity, they did it in the wrong way. That means that they didn't understand. The third one is that the students are talking in their first language. This is also important because in the instructions, if you didn't say that they need to use the second language that they are learning, they're going to start talking in their first one, and the activity will like lose the sense. And also, you can recognize this by listening to a nervous laughter. You know that when we sometimes have like a nervous laugh, when we are confused about something, or we are like, yeah, I didn't understand, but it's okay. Or you know that sometimes the students are afraid of asking again the instruction, so they are like, okay, I got it. I'm going to do it in the wrong way, but it's okay. I'm gonna suppose that I understood. So these are some like key points that can help you to recognize when you gave bad instructions.
Okay, with this in mind, we found some strategies that can help us to improve those kinds of clear instructions during our classes. So, the first one is you obviously use clear and precise language. So the idea with that is to use concrete terms so that the students will be able to understand what's expected of them, and also suggest using nouns instead of pronouns, especially when we are teaching to younger students. Also, I think that that it's so important to keep in mind the level of our students, so in that way you can like give the instruction, because if you are going to use an advanced language, so with students, I don't know, with A1 level, so it's gonna be so difficult to understand what do you want to so in the result of your class. So the second one is repeat your directions, because yes, you know that in some cases we assume that our students listen when we speak, but it's not true, because in some cases, I don't know, they are thinking in another thing, and maybe they are um they are like face to face or something like that, but you know that they are not paying attention. So yeah, that's another way to repeat your directions. Mm, and the third one is explain the purpose of the task. That's important, because when you explain to students what they are being asked to complete an assignment or as a task, sorry, they are more able to appreciate the experience. They are going to connect the previous knowledge. They are going to use all the things that they learned, or yeah, previous session or something like that, with the idea or the task that they have to develop. About number four, make sure your students understand, sorry, after giving them the directions or the instructions, we have to ask to our students to repeat or rephrase what we said, and maybe ask them for specific questions about the requirements, and clarify any confusing points that can arise during the session or during the class.
Okay, about the next one, that is about use an appropriate tone. This is very important because the important thing is not what you say, it's also important how you say. So here is important, like you use a good tone of voice. You don't need to scream, you don't need to yell, you don't need to talk like if you were doing a punishment. You need to be clear and talk in a soft way so the students are going to understand you. Also, the next one, the number 6, is about describe the specifics. This is very important because when you describe the specifics, you are describing the students what do you specifically need for the task. For example, if you need a specific material, if you need a specific format of something, because you can, I don't know, you can ask the students to find something, but if you didn't say like this thing has a specific format, they are going to give you different things that are not good for the class. And also, yeah, the specific material that you need to uh, for the moment that when you are in class you can have a good development of the activity that you have planned before. This is very important as well. This next point, that is provide examples. You know that when we provide examples is more clear for the students how to do the activity, because if you don't provide examples, students are going, like, all of us have like a different interpretation of what we listen in our minds. So if you don't give the examples, your students are going to have different interpretation, and as well are going to do the task in different ways. Maybe they can do what you ask for, like, okay, do this worksheet and that's it, and okay, they finish the worksheet. But if you didn't provide examples of how to answer the questions or something like that, you're going to have like different results, and different results about what you really wanted them to do. And also, the last one, the number 8, is break task into manageable chunks. What is the meaning of this? That, for example, if your activity or the task that you're going to develop is very, very long, the best that you can do is to break it like in steps. Like in the first part, you're going to do the step number 1 and 2. And when they finish that step, you're going to continue with the step 3 and 4. When they finish this part, you're going to continue with the step 5 and 6. So the students are going to understand it better, because if you explain all the steps in just one opportunity, they are going to get confused and don't understanding and do the task in the wrong way. This is specifically good for young learners, because, like, they sometimes get distracted or something like that, or they don't understand it in the first time. So this is the moment when it's important to do like the activity step by step. So at the end, you are going to have better results. And okay, to continue, these are our references. And to finish, we want to say that thank you. Do you want to say something, Diane?
No, thank you, teacher. Thank you, Gabby.
Okay, thank you.